Well, a very good morning. We just witnessed the powerful Super Bowl ad that showed off the NFL's commitment to the economic empowerment of Africa's youth. It encapsulates how in recent years the narrative about Africa's youngest demographic has shifted from disadvantaged really, to one of economic opportunity. Today, more than 60% of Africa's population are under 25 years old. I won't give away my age, you'll have to guess. The continent is teeming with youthful energy and untapped potential. I want to talk about harnessing the full potential of Africa's youth to drive long-term, sustainable economic growth and prosperity. So let's dive right into it. It was so cool watching that ad and seeing you and the advert as well, Osi. We know that American football is very ingrained, in the American culture, and it's difficult to take it to the global stages. But we really need to do that, especially for Africa. Why do you think it's so important to get it into these markets?
Good question. I think, first of all, I understood what the game could do for African people, but conversely, what African people could do for the game. Those two things have to work together, right? So essentially what is going on is you have this incredible amount of talent in Africa, right? But they don't have the opportunities. All these opportunities have been denied to them. And so the conversion process from capital into revenue is what's missing in Africa. And so the NFL has decided what we're going to do is we're going to give these people opportunities. And as we give them opportunities, the game is going to grow in all these different African markets.
Yeah. It's so good to see that you're real. I'll come to you, Lydia. I mean, if you were here last night, it was incredible to watch her win one of the prizes. Yes, give her a round of applause. I think the work that she does is absolutely, absolutely incredible. Your work focuses on unleashing the power of young people in Africa throughout innovation. And often when we look at innovation, a lot of people think robots and spaceships and all those kind of things, but it can be really the simple things that make it effective. Now, you founded 2 digital platforms for young female entrepreneurs, including, and I want to get this right, the first Swahili hybrid e-learning platform for women in Tanzania, providing access to skills, resources, and social justice through a website platform, and an AI-powered SMS technology. What are the main challenges and opportunities you're faced with as a young entrepreneur?
Thank you so much. It's really overwhelming to be here again. I think one is being authentic. It's really hard to be you and to do what you really believe is right, because the world has already figured out how things are working. So if you go to a person and say, this is what I want to do, they'll tell you, no, that doesn't work. So it's really hard to stay authentic, especially if you're looking for opportunities. And you might find your way like you're moving around in the wrong direction. So that's really, really hard. Even for us, when we were starting Panda Digital, everyone was like, you need to put this in English. And then I was like, no, there's a language barrier in Tanzania. I'm going to make this in Swahili, And they said, you need to charge this. I was like, no, there are rural girls who cannot pay this. So let me look for people who can put money in it. So it's really difficult to be authentic, and that's one of the biggest challenges. But another thing is around resourcing. It's really difficult to get financing for your innovation in Africa. You need to be already successful for someone to put their money. Despite all the talks that we do on all these platforms, like investing young people, but really the money is not really streaming down to young people. The money is ending somewhere, so there's a miss somewhere. Like really, there's a miss somewhere. We are not really putting, or I would say investors are not putting their money where the words are. They talk about it, but they're not putting money. But it's really difficult to actually scale an innovation if you don't resource it. And the third thing I would like to emphasize is around our policies. It's hard to do a business or to run an organization in Africa. I mean, if you've been in Africa, you know that. The environment to actually allow you to launch, it's difficult. You find a lot of taxes, a lot of no's, so it's really difficult to actually move. So if we don't really have better policies and enabled environment that actually allows you to launch something new, it's hard. And considering we have very tough infrastructures, we know the potential of digitization and technology, but internet access, even in the city, is hard. Data is expensive. So things like that are really putting limitations on what we can do as innovators in Tanzania and in Africa at large.
You're touching on really key words that I love, words and language and linguistics. I'm known as a message architect, and I think if we can't break down things in understanding, then we can't really move humanity forward. But one universal language, around the world is obviously music. And we have in the audience today Shane Shapiro, who's the founder and executive director for the Center for Music Ecosystems. Now, Shane, you're in the audience. There we go.
Hey,
so
Thami.
you recently wrote a report on music as a tool for addressing global poverty and fostering economic growth. Can you tell us more about it? I believe you've actually launched it today, so it's available to the audience today.
Yeah, so music is our universal language. I always say, has anyone here been to a wedding or a funeral without music? Who exercises without music? But unfortunately, while music is a social good, it's a cultural good, in many countries, including many countries in Africa, it's not an economic good because we lack the foundations and the framework for music to be treated and seen as an economy. For music to function as an economy, for people to get paid, we need copyright infrastructure, we need education, we need physical infrastructure, we need policies that all governments understand how music works, why it matters, and how we can invest in it and how we can use it as a tool to eradicate global poverty. So together with Global Citizen and Universal Music Group and partners of the United Nations, we are launching a vision today, available on our website, centerformusicecosystems.com, to see how music can be a tool to eradicate global poverty. And we're doing that because this is an incredibly powerful tool. Like sport, music brings us all together. Music is everywhere. It's in every single country. It's in every single community. But it suffers from what I call the ignorance of ubiquity. Because it's all around us all the time, because my phone is a music library, and all our phones are music libraries, we kind of forget that music, from an economic perspective, is not global. And I think that in order to promote economic diversification and fight global poverty, what an incredible opportunity we all have to treat music that way. So I hope all of you can join me in that. And thank you so much to Global Citizen for having me and you guys.
So I'm going to come back to you, Osi. I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, just in case the audience didn't know. You're a two-time champion when it comes to American football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pinnacle achievement in the American football space, but now you're running an uprising development program across the continent. What are some of the lessons you've learned and that you can share with us?
I think the most important lesson I've learned is talent is global, opportunity isn't. And for me, understanding that and understanding the opportunities that needed to be presented to people to actually allow them to thrive in this world, in this environment that we have. One of my all-time favorite books is a book called The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto. I don't know if any of you guys have read that book, but if you haven't, check it out. Because the author posits that a lot of these developing countries or third world countries, they have tremendous capital. But what is missing is the conversion process into revenue. And I keep on bringing that up because in Africa, we have, bar none, the most incredible athletes in the world. But they're just there languishing. They're just there surviving. And we have to find a way to give them opportunities to turn that capital into revenue. And that's exactly what NFL Africa is doing.
A round of applause, please, for that. We know, obviously, every idea needs somewhat of an investment for it to go forward. And I think you're quite well suited, Lydia, to say, what can governments do? What can investors do? How can they help us achieve these goals through investments?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. And I think I asked you back then, how authentic can I be in answering this question? I think it's actually to be true to our words. Let's not say things that we cannot keep or we cannot implement. If we're not really investing in young people and women or girls, or we're not being intentional in innovation, let's just be real. Because it's really discouraging having young people trying out there, doing so much, and when they knock doors are shutters. So it's really important for investors, philanthropists, to actually put their money where their words are, to be intentional with their words, to be committed to the words that are doing. But also, I think we need to think about bottom up and not top down. Let's work by reflecting the actual needs of the communities we want to serve. You can come to me today and tell me, I want you to do something around climate justice, blah, 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 blah. It's cool, but I will only do that if my people tell me it's a problem. Not because you tell me it's a problem. So the top down needs to go to bottom up. But also we need to evolve. I know we have systems, we have a way that things are working, but we are missing a lot of good innovation from young people. Right. Simply because we think we have figured out. Young people are really trying to do a lot of things that are different. So how about we evolve our models to meet them where they are? Like meet us where we are. Meet us somewhere there, and then all the other things will work out. We're willing to learn, we're willing to collaborate, and we're willing to make it work. And I have seen presidents here, like prime ministers, okay, I'm going back to Africa. So I wanted to say we need to reform our policies, our laws. They need to be really friendly because, like I said, it's really hard to launch nonprofits and companies and even businesses if we don't really have friendly policies. And I know we can do it, especially policies that are really discriminatory. Policies like child marriages. We don't really to get girls married before age because once you're married, you're not even able to go to school and even unleash your potential. And we put the trust in the leaders that we're voted to. So it's time to actually live up the words that we are talking about, but also to make meaningful change that really would make a lot of sense to our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. So we've only got a minute left. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. You have to keep it to 30 seconds. In 2030, what direct impact do you think youth will have in your industry? 30 seconds.
Innovation and technology.
Forget 30 seconds. There we go. And over to you, Osi.
I'll take the rest of her time.
Okay, good.
I don't like to think in 2030, that's right around the corner.
Yep.
2040, 2050.
Yep.
I like to project far into the future, right? They say great people are the people who plant trees that they'll never see the shade from. And this is the way you have to think in Africa. It's gonna take us a long time to do all these things. Stay the course, have the intestinal fortitude to stay the course and do what we're supposed to do, and everybody's gonna win.
Thank you so much, Osi and Lydia. It's clear that this demographic represents an unprecedented opportunity for the continent's development and most importantly, its prosperity. With the right investment in education, technology, and entrepreneurship, the potential of Africa's youth to drive economic development and a transformative change is boundless. Please, a round of applause for Shane, Osi, Lydia.